All right, shall we rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God
Bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the lights from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
It's pretty nice.
Testing one.
Harmonization here almost.
Scott, you want to give me a countdown on the microphone? Give me a countdown on your mic.
Mike? 10, 9, 8, 7.
Not hearing it. Charlie, are you,
Yes. Hello.
are you hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. That's the important thing.
All right.
We're good? Okay, so moment of inspiration. I was going to reach out, Ken, you're usually my guy that I reach out to for a little inspiration, but I saw something that was just kind of appropriate. Today, we're talking about the Super Raffle and trying to inspire everybody to aspire to a higher level. And I get this thing every day called word smarts, and it's every day it's a little different. Talks about a particular word, the difference between EI and EG, and all the neat stuff we probably should know, but we don't. But this one came this morning, or actually yesterday morning, so I thought, wow, this would be a great thing to talk about at the meeting. It's when should you use the word inspiration versus aspiration, which is times hard to decide. So let me read this little piece here, and we'll think about this as we go through the meeting. When you're looking for creative energy, you may look to an outward source of motivation. But are you looking for inspiration or aspiration? Like many writers, I have a strong affinity for Nora Ephron. This isn't me. I don't know who she is, but I'm reading about this article. Her witty prose, acidic descriptions, and heartwarming surprises set a standard for writers who wish to share their personal lives and use them to inform their own fiction writing. The big question I had to answer for myself was how much I was inspired by her work and how much I aspire to have a body of work like hers. Inspiration and aspiration targets can overlap, but they're not exactly the same. Inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something. Now it's killing me.
Yeah.
180 days, actually more than that, 2 years. I looked at that inscription in that desk, so, and I would agree with
If
that.
you like that type of humor, then you should read some of Nora Ephron. Are you familiar with?
I am
Yeah,
familiar
you're a
with her.
big reader, Walt.
No longer with us physically,
Okay.
but she was a writer that used to write a lot of humorous novels. Mostly about, like, she was way ahead of the feminist issues and so forth like that. But I used to enjoy some of the reading some of her things. Nora Ephraim.
Ephraim, yeah. Keep
Yes.
that in mind. I know you're a big reader.
A New York City person.
Aha.
But
Were you inspired by her writing? Or did you aspire to write like her?
I learned a lot and how to be cautious when I dealt with women.
Yeah, that's always important. So, all right. So, as far as what happened on June 18th and years gone past, probably most of us don't remember this, but in 1429, Joan of Arc led the French army against the English at Patay, France. In 1812, guess what war began? War of 1812. That's coincidental, isn't it? In 1815, Napoleon was defeated at Waterloo. Here's one that's hard to kind of get your arms around, the people of our age. In 1942, guess who was born? Paul McCarthy. He's 80, 85, 83 years old now. So it's a little hard to grasp. And
You mean Paul McCartney? You have Paul McCarthy.
Yeah.
Paul
You
McCartney.
mean Paul
Yeah.
McCartney.
Paul
The
McCartney.
Beatles.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I did misspell that. It's the same one. And in 1983, Sally Ride became the first woman to fly in space. So
There was just a program on about her,
is that right?
I think 2 nights ago.
Ah.
It was a documentary.
Yeah, it's good.
She was the first American woman to fly in space. There was such a woman that flew up in space before. When I was in school, the teachers ought to tell me you ought to be an astronaut because you take up space. So I did. I took up space. I followed it from the Mercury program to the Gemini program to the Apollo program.
Well, we're so glad you're here in your seat today because you're providing a lot of input into this meeting.
Yeah.
All right. All right. As far as Kiwanis members update, next on the 20th, which is 2 days away, is Sue Gallagher's birthday. So we'll have to wish her happy birthday. On 26th, it's Bonnie Joliti, and a birthday to her. And Neil is having his 60th anniversary with the club on the 29th. So that will finish out a busy month of June with a lot going on. I think what I'll do if nobody has any issues with this is rather than talk about the Super Raffle right now and then do any committee updates or anything else that we want to discuss. Why don't we do that first? We'll move into the discussion on the Super Raffle, and then we'll have as much time as we need, which I don't think will be the entire meeting time, but we'll cover as much as we need to cover. So, Walt, on committee updates, so what do you have for us in terms of awards, scholarships, and recognition?
Awards. There was an inquiry you had regarding the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting we had as to whether Crystal Rose committed Unity Bank to just a police officer of the year or to our the 3 significance ones we do. I went back and I reviewed the audio recording that Neil made during our meeting, and Unity Bank has committed to considering offering $500 to offset any cost for the police officer of the year, Easton Emergency Squad Person of the Year, and the Easton Firefighter of the Year, if needed.
Well, I would move a rounding applause for both Crystal and also for Lori. Thank you so much. That's going to give us a little breathing room on those wonderful events, and we do appreciate that. So, Walt, anything else on the?
Well, on August 6th, we will be recognizing the Easton Emergency Squad Member of the Year. I've been in touch with Buddy Shaw, who is still the president of the Board of Directors. He knows the date. He knows the location. I told him I'd get back in touch with him as we get a little closer, so I knew who the recipient is going to be, or more importantly, who the guests are going to be. We allow the recipient and 9 guests on our tab, as well as making sure that he notifies the Palmer Trophy and Awards, get that plaque made up.
Okay.
So that's what I got as far as awards so far.
All right. So we're we're in good shape with our awards, scholarships and recognition. Well, thank you, Walt. And then we do have,
Scholarships, I'm just talking with Rosemary and Joanne about, we have two outstanding scholarships. One of the students that's the Nazareth Key Club member that Kathy is interacting with. Another one which I will reach out to. I think that she was one of the persons that wasn't able to be at our luncheon last year when we were here. But she was invited to come and was recognized as a recipient and given her certificate when we had that summer luncheon up at the
CIT?
the community building there where Janet and James lived. That
Oh, yeah,
Riverview development up there, that
Riverview.
community room. Matter of fact, she sat between Skip and I at that luncheon. And got soaking wet running out to the car after over. But I have to reach out to her to find out. She may not have gone to, she was going to go to originally take radiology at the community college, and I think she kind of changed majors. She may be now going just for nursing. But I'm going to reach out to her because I didn't get a copy of her transcript, which I should have had already. So
Okay.
I'll reach out to her and find out. And
We-
as far as recognition, I told Kathy that at the meeting that she's in charge as a person, the point of contact for the recognition for the 62 years of Roger's commitment to the Kiwanis Club of Easton.
Yep. So that'll be a very nice event. Kathy, thank you for heading that up. And I was in touch with Doug, Roger's son, and I can, any communication with the family, I can certainly
Okay.
reach out and call.
And then we have to find the place and I'll take care of it.
It's already, Golfer Club, it's already
Oh, it is.
It's already
Right
down.
on September.
September 10th.
September
That's
10th.
what I thought.
Yeah, we're
So
on
Okay,
the list. Okay.
we'll get a nice,
Yeah, that should be a nice, very
favor
nice.
for everybody.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah, Walt, that's very good. Thank you. I was just thinking as you were talking, one of the memorable times in Kiwanis history was when you were giving the Bill Fifield scholarship to the gal who was going to go to Temple.
Young lady was going to go to Temple.
And she let you know in the middle of the ceremony, she changed her mind. She's not going to Temple.
Yeah, it's University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Oh.
That was a showstopper.
Took Bill to task. He had to make up another certificate, and I ran it out to her house to give her the new one,
Oh,
indicating she's going to the University of
well,
Pittsburgh.
Mrs. Fifield was here too, right? Didn't she come for that? Didn't Mrs. Fifield come?
And her son.
And her son, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, it was still the
So that
still
was
the
a
Bill
surprise
file.
for everybody.
That was a big surprise. That was, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, you know what? While you're on a roll here, why don't you give us an update on the SLPs?
Okay. We have a commitment from Mr. Ellison to do the Shawnee K Kids again next year. His principal has limited him to 50. At times we've had 90 and 100 in there, but the principal thought it was probably a bit overwhelming, so he has limited it the last couple of years to a total of 50 of his choosing.
How many years has he been doing this now? It's been,
About 14 or so.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's longer than anybody else.
Actively, yes.
Yep.
The first one we ever got was at Cheston Elementary. That's about 16 years ago. That's when Miss Piazza was principal. And then at Paxenosa. And with Shawnee, it was originally sponsored by the Forks Township Kiwanis Club. And when they folded many years ago, they reached out to me. I think it was when I was lieutenant governor in 2007, 2008. They reached out to me and asked if they thought, if they gave us enough money for a couple of years of registration fees for Shawnee K Kids, would we take over the sponsorship of them? And we did. And Mr. Ellison's been doing it every year since then.
Yeah.
And we have a meeting coming up with Mrs. Okula, Rosemary and Susan and I in another week, I think it is.
Monday. I think it's Monday. Monday?
Monday,
Yeah.
yeah, Monday at 11 a.m. But she's already committed to, when she gave me the can tabs, she's already committed, although she's gonna be retired, she's committed to coming back, and I'm gonna try to get her to become a member, so there's no question as to whether she should be actively involved with the K Kids or not.
What school was that?
St. James Catholic Elementary School,
Oh, yeah.
Very good, very good.
so.
All right, so everything on your list there? Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Walt, as always. Very good. Education and advocacy, I guess that would be Janet. Rosemary, do you know anything in terms of anything happening in that area?
No, Kathy did read. I did read last week, the noisy barnyard, and the kids loved it.
No, I think they're doing it through the summer, but I have to check with Janet. Janet had said something about volunteers up at the Boys and Girls Club to help in the summer and
Ah.
maybe, but I didn't hear anything else about it, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Those two things I know she did mention to me.
I think that was a great Facebook posting that
Dean?
Dean put on the other day for the summer camp up at the Boys Club.
But she
Boys and
was
Girls.
looking for days that we could do it, but she didn't put anything out.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about reading and so forth like that.
Yeah.
I got an email back this morning
Mhm.
to confirm from Judy Dickerson, who's the executive director of the Cops and Kids of Easton.
Oh.
That I reached out to her about supplying some books since I agreed to be the steward for a little free library
Right.
that's over at the Boys and Girls Club. I go by there every Saturday morning before I go to the Citizens Host to have breakfast. And I noticed it was a little low this last Saturday, so I reached out to Judy, thinking that I would see her at a PAL meeting yesterday. Didn't happen. But anyway, I reached out to her earlier and asked her if she would be willing to supply some of the books that the Nazareth K Kids donated, 300 of them, as a matter of fact, to the Cops and Kids of Easton as part of one of their
Yeah,
projects or activities.
yeah.
So she got back to me and she said, not only was she glad to do it, she also brought the books over there and put them in the little library.
Oh,
They
good.
also
Oh,
have a
what-
second one. It's not affiliated with us, but there's a second one on the Boys and Girls Club property also,
Oh, geez.
over closer to where their entrance is. Ours is right there by the garden.
Right. Oh, good.
So, but I'll give you that update while
Yeah, while you're thinking about it.
yeah, one goes in one side and out the other.
Oh, we appreciate that.
I'm gonna get some paper and plug it up on side.
As far as fundraisers go, of course, we're going to talk about the Super Raffle. We've got the Rose Sale coming up in October. I don't know of anything happening here at Serve as far as partnering with them, and I haven't heard anything.
Well, we don't, they did one,
Mhm.
but I didn't hear how much we paid.
I thought that
Yeah.
Jada had said like $500. So it was more than we ever anticipated to make on that. Yeah, that is good. That was good. That was a good meal too. Anybody had that?
That's good.
Mac and cheese and
Thanks.
yeah, that was a good one. That was very good.
A lot of it.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
It's always worth it. For our family, that's 4 meals.
Hey, that was the whole week.
So the food's still warm when you pick it up. We're half an hour away.
Hospitality and community service, anything to anybody who's involved with that? Let's just say anything. Membership, we didn't have any new applications to discuss at the board meeting on Monday, but hopefully we'll be getting some coming through here in the not too distant future. And Rosemary, anything you want to say about the club finances? Other than that, we're in pretty good shape, I guess.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna do our fundraisers, but Lori said we can get the,
Credit card.
no, open the bank account first, because
Oh.
it was a problem, because the records are so old, I couldn't get verification for the EIN number. They found verification, the IRS couldn't find verification, you know, so we'll work on it and we'll talk.
Oh, so that-
So we have to decide if they're the same signers that will be on it,
Okay,
but
but the
we should get that done in the next month.
good, very good. Yeah, we've been up against a lot of hurdles with that, but would think of, well, it is what it is, right?
The corporation papers are really old. They don't even look like normal corporation papers.
Yeah.
Are they done up on papyrus?
I don't know, they're electronic now, maybe.
Well, no, when I did the foundation grant requests for the playground, the foundation is a 501c3, the club is
Yeah, yeah,
501c4. So I wasn't looking for any grant money to come to the club. So we did it through the foundation, and when I started doing some of the large scale requests from large corporations, they needed to see a copy of original documentation proving from the IRS gave us a 501c3 and this is your number. Well, nobody knew what that was, so of course I dug into it for the foundation,
Mhm.
and it took a couple of weeks to get the digital copies. Well, I actually got mail copies back from the IRS proving the foundation was a tax exempt 501c3. I've got digital copies, you've got digital copies, the original copies from the government are stored in our records at the Siegel Museum. I never was looking for the club's documentation, not thinking that's something our treasurer should have had. Well, Gary had no idea. So Rosemary was stuck with the challenge of trying to get a hold of the government.
I got hold of them. They just didn't know anything.
Well, there's obviously a government source because organizations can put a number in and it will tell them if it's a 501c3 or a C4.
Well,
That's what happened,
That's
yeah.
what she did, but
Yeah.
the IRS said they couldn't verify that that was our number, so I had to write to someplace out in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And they would.
So we will
find
eventually
me
get
within
that.
30
for our
days. If they
records.
didn't, I'd have to call them back, which they didn't know anything.
We will
anyway.
then digitize it and keep it in multiple locations.
That's one of the issues, I think, with just the way we operate. You know, we have officers that change every so many years and the record transfers are, there's not a specific protocol, I don't think, for that. And I was just talking to Scott the other day about this contract that you arranged with the Adamses, that for the foundation, I'm trying to get everything scanned in and on my computer so that whoever the next person is can go to there and they'll have everything available.
Do you do backups?
Oh, yeah, I do backups to backups.
Well, I'm saying external.
Yes,
Okay, so that someone could resurrect documentation.
yep. And then, of course, we now have everything at the Sickle Museum that looks like something we would want to preserve and much
It's-
more, but really than we probably
It's
really
there
want.
in boxes and it's sort of organized in folders, but it's still a hodgepodge 5 years from now for someone new to go look for it.
Right, yep.
I think the Kiwanis International is they're putting up a new website. And the last thing I went to that said something about that you would be able to store your documents, your historical documents on that site. So like our minutes and those types of things could be stored there as well as other places. And I've been trying to get them on the Google Drive that we have, that Bill has access to, but the thing is, if something happens to one person and they have like, even if they were on your computer and something happened to you, which can happen, maybe anything, how does anybody get it?
Well, keep that in mind, my son-in-law has access to all of my digital.
Yeah.
And he knows all of the Kiwanis stuff is in a couple of files on my computer. And I just recently bought an external solid state hard drive for 2 gigabytes. Because the Easton Kiwanis files that I'm holding and the video files that I'm holding from 140 some videos that are on YouTube is 0.9 gigabytes. So I have an external drive that sits on my desktop that's big, bold color, gold color. And that's where all the Kiwanis files are. And it's a little hard drive. It's not even a mechanical drive. It's a solid state drive about that big with a huge heat sink that plugs into a USB. There's no passwords or anything. I could pull that out and hand it to you and you plug it in, you can see all the files.
Make,
Plus, everything is backed up to the YouTube cloud also, to the
Google.
Apple cloud, and whatever's on Google is on the Google cloud.
is it really getting any easier? Not really.
Too many
It's-
places now.
It used to be like a binder, and everything was in the binder, Here you go, you can have all the records, there they are. So, No, shouldn't say that, then you're,
I just want to say that Lori's been wonderful to help, so.
yeah, yeah, well, Lori, thank you, because that's been a, yeah,
But I mean, it needs possible for you guys.
that was one of those things that took up so much conversation time, just because we weren't getting any,
Yeah, we're
Getting any-
gonna nip.
yeah, good. Well, that's
Most of us in this room can remember BC. Before cell phones, before computers, and before
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
so, well, thank you so much for that. We do appreciate it.
Joanne showed me just as a point of interest.
Yeah.
She was showing me when I became the foundation president, all of these handwritten, penciled in ledgers that were what our whole records were of finances in the foundation back then. And today you would look at that and say, well, how could they possibly have done that?
So,
They deserve a lot of credit for getting it transferred over to something we could use today.
talking about things that people aren't familiar with, we're having dinner with our brother-in-law tonight. He's in town from Richmond, and I sent him a note. I said, I know you're going to be in town tomorrow. If your dance card's not full, how about having dinner with Judy and I? And he sends me a note back and he goes, what's a dance card? And I said, John, you don't know what a dance card is? Because I never heard of one. Well, he's not a young guy. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think there's anybody in this room that really actually used the dance card.
no, I sent him the Wikipedia. I sent him the Wikipedia explanation with a picture of what a dance card really is. So anyway,
Still a dance.
yeah.
Most of them are.
Yeah. Service projects, the only thing, keep in mind, if you would, the only thing that I know of, and please jump in, anybody else who has anything, on the 8th of August, 10th of August, is the Touch a Truck event, which we had last year, which was which was a good day. We had a lot of fun and made a lot of, I think we actually picked up Hyacinth Baker became a member as a result of that. I sold 2 tickets, raffle tickets there. And so in addition to the kids having a good time, it was a good day. So we need some help on that as far as volunteers who
Might help if we had information on it. All I have is the date and the touch it trucks.
yeah, that's all I got. I didn't get in. I got to get that flyer from Trina. Is that her? Trina's involved with that? Yeah. Okay, I will take care of that.
Hey, Scott, I have a copy of the flyer, Susan Bartles. I can send that right over right now.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Oh,
Yep.
and welcome. So you just joined us there. Nice to have you. Okay.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else in terms of committee updates, service projects? Bill?
One thing I would like, whoever's going to be doing any reading at the Forks Elementary or the Forks Learning Center, whatever it's called, I would appreciate if you could get someone to either go with you or alert me when you're going to do it, if I can afford to be there. I would like to take some short video of us reading to kids. This video clips, 20, 30 seconds, couple of them. Because I'm developing a video for our Kiwanis Club. It'll be a 30-second video that I'm creating on Canva. I thought it would be nice to show us doing something with kids. So at the Touch a Truck, if somebody can pull some videos and get them to me, that's the only thing I wanted to mention.
Okay. Keep that in mind. And your videos are getting better all the time, Bill. You're really, I think you're,
Quality of the equipment.
yeah, well, yeah, quality of the operator. And I think the Policeman of the Year that was great.
I have to apologize for running around a little while ago before you really started. All of a sudden, nothing was audio and the video was showing, but I had nothing showing on my camera. And then I realized I forgot to plug in the cooling thing. And it had shut the video camera part of it had shut off because the camera got too hot. There's a cooling fan you plug into the back of this, not for taking pictures. But if you're taking more than 12 minutes of steady video, the hand camera overheats. Things that I learned along
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, so short program today, but it is a conversation about our Super Raffle, which is coming up rapidly when you think about it. The 3rd of September is right around the corner, and it feels like there's a lot of work to do between now and then. I know we'll get it done. So I put together a little for Susan and Crystal. I'll email this to you, just a little overview of some of the things we're thinking about as far as the raffle is concerned. And Chaz, if you'd like a copy, glad to send it to you as well. So, but here is just some things we can mull over as we're going through the meeting here today.
I also have on the screen.
Oh, yeah, got the ticket up there. Maybe you could share that one there. Yeah, I don't know whether this is going to be inspiration or aspirational or whatever, but I got a lot of paper anyway. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the Super Raffle, which is going to be held on the 3rd of September, Brown and Lynch, same place we were at last year. Doors open at 6 p.m. and the raffle is set for 7 p.m. And if there's any word that we're going to use, I think to describe this year's raffle, it'll be simple, a very simple raffle. We're not serving food. I have a call into Terry, who's the commander up there, to see if anybody would like to have food, if they could order, we could order from the other side. She seemed to think that would be okay, but she's just checking with the chef over there to make sure that that's going to work out okay. So anybody wants a hamburger or whatever, pay as you go. You know, we're not going to be providing any lunch or dinner at this point. So 6 o'clock will open, and then we'll have our drawing, just like we've done at the Pomfret Club for years, and last year at the American Legion. So just a little bit about the financials on the raffle. We sell 200 raffle tickets at $100 a piece. That's $20,000. We sell all the tickets. Half of that goes to the winner, but there's also $2,050 that are given out for the $500 first ticket, $500 last ticket, and $150 tickets that are in between. So the total amount of prize money that we give away out of the $20,000 that we collect is $12,050. So our returns are cut down considerably just by giving away the money we promised to give away. That's okay. It's a great raffle. Our 50-50 tickets, they're $10 a piece. We get half of that, being that it's a 50-50. If we sell 100 tickets, and I don't know how many we sell in what we sold last year. Well, I'm using 100 as an example. That seems to be. Oh, I think we sold more than that. Oh, well, that's good. Well, it's easy. I mean, 100. We sell 100 tickets. We take in $1,000. We keep 500. 500 is given back. So let's say we only sold 100 tickets. We'd make $500 there. We're estimating our expenses to be about $500, $125 for the license. Bill, the tickets are what, 75 plus a few bucks for that. It doesn't matter. But if we add them all together, it comes up to close to $500. Does that sound about right, Julian? From what you remember? Okay. So if we sold all of the tickets, which I think we've done every year, but they're not every year. There's been a couple of years where. A couple of years we did. But that won't be this year. We sold when we sell the 200 tickets and we pay our expenses and we give away the prize money, the club will benefit $7,950. So that's our major fundraiser for the year.
Before last year.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing what we're doing now, before last year. When we were doing it for many, many years, the Pomfret Club, between doing the Super Raffle, paying for the expenses, we're not talking meals, and the Super 50-50, I generally said, we ended up with $8,000. Last year, we ended up with more because we made more on the
tricky trick.
But the Super 50-50 last year brought in more, and I didn't pull those numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were looking for.
Yeah. At least we have a ballpark of what we want to make about $8,000. That's a great, that would be another good year for our raffle.
Scott, you weren't counting in the baskets that we sold?
Well, we think maybe another, I think it was another 1,000 or 1,200 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was $3,000 of effort that went into selling $1,000 of basket of this thing.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work, but
yeah.
So
I never gave you my bill.
Yeah, so to generate that almost $8,000 of revenue, the only thing we're really looking at this year is selling the tickets. So I'm thinking, I'd like to present this to the club and get your thoughts on this. Joanne does the yeoman's task in terms of generating get that stuff together, get all the spreadsheets, and Bill, of course, obviously. I was thinking maybe this year we could look at it differently as far as how we're managing the process of selling the tickets between now and, well, we're supposed to have a deadline of a week before the drawing. I mean, that's definitely aspirational because that never happens. So we will continue to sell them right up until we sell the 200th ticket. But my thoughts were, why don't we break our membership down into 4 teams, groups, or whatever, with like a team captain that manages that group of people in terms of making sure that, number one, helping them out if they have any questions, and gathering the money, and then getting the money to Joanne so that there's not 33 people shipping them at different time, but 4 team captains, so to speak, who are taking care of the folks on their team as far as gathering the money and then getting it up to Joanne. And that could be, I mean, we can do that from a meeting here or whatever. But I took a look at our membership, and there are members who sell a lot of tickets, and there are members who don't sell any. And that, I mean, that's their decision. It would be nice if everybody sold or at least bought one. But that's again, aspirational. So I just took each member and started putting them in team 1, team 2, right through the membership directory. And if you do it that way, you get 4 teams with the members of each team as listed below. Now, I will volunteer to be a team coordinator, and I would probably do it for team number 3 because I'm in that group. But I would ask if you think this is a good way to kind of manage our selling of our tickets this year. Either you volunteer to be the team coordinator, I don't think there's much work involved with it, or we reach out to a worthy individual here and ask them if they would be the coordinator for their team. I would say how I view the team coordinator is make a phone call to each one of the team members. I mean, there's people on here who we never see, and it's the way it is. I'm not making any judgments here, but it would be nice to give them a call and ask them how they're doing, and talk a little bit about the raffle, and ask them if they would be, would they consider this year of buying a ticket. And Joanne, you can let us know, or Bill, I mean, we know everybody who bought tickets, right? We have the names of everybody who bought tickets. And that's the list we need to work from to sell tickets for this year.
Who sold the tickets too?
Yeah.
Okay,
By the numbers they sold.
right. So, for my team, I'd like to know for the members of this team, who'd they sell them to? I mean, who sold how many, and who did they sell them to? Because if they're not going to sell them this year, we still want to reach out to them. In sales,
Or who someone sold it to was a lot of work. I can give you a list of 200 tickets and names on it. I can tell you the name of the person that bought the ticket, and somewhere it'll show you the name of who sold them the ticket.
Yeah.
But it's not grouped by who sold. I can give you a list of who sold tickets.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't tell you who they sold.
yeah, and that would be enough, though. I mean, I'd be happy to call up this guy on my team, Walt Howell. Who's he? Call him up and ask him, Walt, who did you sell? You selling your tickets this year? I see you sold 12 of them last year. You're going to be selling them all again this year? And if he says, no, I'm not going to be selling them this year, I said, well, who did you sell them to? You mind if I reach out to them and also sell to them? So, I mean, that's basically I don't really need to know the names from you, Bill, but it would be nice to know how many they
A
sold.
challenging idea that maybe I can cross-reference to and come up with. Walt sold tickets to this list.
Mhm.
I sold tickets to this list. Charlie sold, this person sold one. So
Is it in an Excel spreadsheet?
it's 2 separate spreadsheets.
You can.
Well, it's in one.
No, I can get that out. That's
Okay.
easy. That's
You
just
have
the
a
sort.
copy of it as of this morning. I said.
Yeah, I haven't been home. I can get,
We
that's
can talk about
easy
that.
if it's in an Excel
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
it is, yeah.
Does this seem like a good way to manage the program this year? A little different. I think gets people a little bit more involved and kind of takes the burden off of Joanne, in terms of the craziness that happens when everybody starts sending stuff in at the same time. But I do need a couple of coordinators here to help out. So, anybody really want to do this? Do that? I'd, by show of hands, be glad to get somebody on the team. All right, Joanne, you want to be?
Be, the team captain because she's collecting the money.
What's the
Yeah, I
difference?
think so. Yeah.
She's,
Plus she,
when she ran this by herself, she called all the people she never sees and sent them her tickets.
and I told you this story for many years. I was gone from this club for 20 years. And the only person I ever heard from every year was Joanne. Are you going to buy your ticket this year? Are you going to sell some tickets this year? Yeah. So you can always depend on.
The excuse for Joanne living in Bangor,
Yeah.
rather than her delivering tickets, and we really don't want to mail them with today's postal service. Neil said he would be glad to help deliver tickets. He
Mhm.
doesn't want to deliver them for all the captains,
Mhm.
but like Joanne could say, I got tickets that gotta go to so-and-so. And Neil just needs the physical tickets and he would deliver them to that person.
Yeah. So basically the team captain is just managing the process with a couple of members. So, all right, Joanne, how about we make you the captain of team number 1 there, or 2? One. You're on team number 1. So you're captain of team number. Congratulations. That's a good team there. I'll do number 3. We're looking for somebody for number 2. Anybody here want to step up and do team 2? Don't have to. Got a lot of other people on the team there. Skip, how about you?
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we got Skip as the captain for number 2, and then team number 4. We got small team. Anybody want to? Okay.
I'll do it.
Ah, very good. Okay.
Can I be added to one of the teams? I'm not on it.
What's that? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crystal is.
Okay.
Should I be joining team number 3 with Crystal or like me?
Why don't we put you on team number 4?
You got?
We'll okay, Lori, that would, and definitely you certainly can. I'm more than happy to put you on that team. Okay. All right. So we got our team captains together, and I think it's just going to make a nicer way to manage it, and yeah, maybe have a little fun here, competition, see how things go as time goes by. So all you guys, everybody online there? Crystal, did you get the gist of that discussion?
Yes. Yes, I'm happy to help sell tickets.
You're going to sell tickets?
Yeah, I'm happy to help sell tickets.
All right, good. We appreciate that. All right. So we got the logistics, the financials down. We talked about putting the teams together. I think we're in good shape there. All right, go to page number 2. I sat down this morning and I was thinking, what can we talk about for the Super Raffle, other than the financials and the team aspect and everything? So anybody ever hear of Nick Murray? Nick Murray is probably the greatest wholesaling in the financial advisor world is somebody who, or you probably know wholesalers come through your bank all the time, right? They're selling a mutual fund, they're selling, a platform of investments or whatever. But they sell, and wholesalers are usually very, very good salespeople. And so Nick Murray is probably the best there ever was. And Nick is well into his 80s now, and he had always been I just thought the world of Nick Murray. Finally got a chance to meet him one day. I bought his book. He get $35 for this book. And I read this thing from cover to cover so many times, trained from it. And finally one day I got to meet him, and he signed my book here. So yeah. I met him in Newark at the corporate office with Prudential. He came in to do some training and speaking, and I had a chance to spend some time with him. But yeah, he was bigger in life than even in the book. So I really enjoyed it. But he had 4. He always trained when you're trying to sell something. There are 4 aspects to selling. got to believe in the product that you're selling. You've got to have the right behaviors. You got to have endurance. And last of the three is skill. Because one of the great sayings of all time, if you look up at belief and look at the third bullet there, we can always learn by doing, but we can never do by learning. And that was Nick Murray's favorite, one of his favorite sayings, right? You can't do by learning, but you can learn by doing. So the experiential way of learning things was much better than just sitting down and reading his book. And he didn't want you to just sit around and read his books. He wanted you to read it and go out and use it. So just a couple of things to think as we're selling our raffle tickets, because selling gets a bad rap, I think. It wasn't always that way, Skip. My father-in-law got out of World War II, went to Lafayette, became a chemical engineer, and went into sales. Not sitting in a lab with his test tubes and everything, but selling, because that was in those days, in the 50s, that was the way you made money. There was no ceiling on the amount of money you could make as a salesperson. So even though he came out as a chemical engineer, he did sell chemical engineering equipment, but he sold. And he was always, and my brother-in-law, his son, goes to Vietnam, graduates from Lafayette, gets his mechanical engineering degree, and goes into sales. His father said, hey, you want to make some money, you got to go into sales. Mechanical engineering is great, but you're not going to, you gotta sell. So Bruce became a salesman also, and salesperson, and that's kind of what, and me, I grew up, got into business at the same time when those folks were saying the same thing. You got to sell. If you want to make the income of a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief or whatever, the only way to do that is if you don't have that kind of an education. You got to sell. You got to sell. So anyway, there's something to be said for that. But a couple of things to think about. You can't sell a raffle ticket unless you believe in the raffle. So if you're going to ask somebody for $100, you got to believe that $100 is money well spent from that person. So if you don't have a belief system that supports what you're selling, you're not going to be a good salesperson. Now we're not selling tough stuff here. It's a raffle, for goodness sakes. But it does make sense. You got to really, I think we really have to appreciate what that $100 to our club will do. If we can look somebody in the eye and say, Skip, it's only $100. Come on. We're doing great things with this money. So you got to have the belief.
For once I paid you, what do you use the winnings for?
Yeah, and that's what you have to have. You got to have.
You got to be able to answer.
That's right. You got to be able to answer.
Have your elevator speed.
That's right. Exactly. A good thing to know is, what are the 3 grants we gave away for this year? Well, just this year alone, we gave away grants for Project of Easton. We gave away a grant for, I should know this, but what were the other ones, Ken? What was it? Community Center? Yeah.
Community Center.
Right. Yeah.
And the YMCA.
The YMCA, right? And since our foundation has been in business, we've given away well over $1 million to local youth in this area, and that's. So anyway, you got to believe what you're doing. Great proverb, 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And when you're trying to sell something, I sold life insurance for 10 years. So you want to think something. I mean, you sell somebody life insurance, there's nothing you can give them. Hey, you buy a raffle ticket, at least you get a stub and a chance to win. Right? I sell somebody a life insurance policy, what do you get? Well, you do get a policy, but it's very much an intangible. So, and most people think they don't need it, don't want it, can't understand it. So that's a great product to be selling. But anyway, it was fun. So here's another great Nick Murrayism. The second bullet there. Cost is only an issue in the absence of value. Now think about it for a minute. Cost is only an issue in the absence of value. So my boss, when I first started, he said, I was having a hard time asking people for larger premiums. I would get tongue-tied. And I would think to myself, they can't afford $150 a month. I'm not going to ask them for them. My boss had a big conversation with me. He says, go up to Daniel's BMW up there and go in and ask the salesman how much that 5 Series BMW is on the floor. And he's going to look you right in the eye and he's going to say it's $60,000. And he's not going to be ashamed of it. He's not going to blink. He's going to say it's $60,000. He says that you can't think that what you're selling is too expensive, or not believe that it's worth the price you're asking for. Cost is only issues to the absence of value. Now I told both of our sons that, and they have never let me forget that. They always, hey Dad, cost is only an issue in the absence of value. So, but it's true, right? We did talk about that third one there. You can always learn by doing, but you can't always do by learning. The other thing is $100. If we ask people $100 for a ticket, we were asking people for $100 40 years ago. Now, what did $100 buy 40 years ago versus what it's buying today? You know, you can't go out to dinner. A couple, it's very difficult to go out to dinner for less than $100, right? I mean, it's really not. You know, your phone bill, $150 a month. You know, your YouTube and internet and everything else. You know, I mean, $200 a month for that. Everything's $100. $100 doesn't really. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything. It means a lot, but it's just not that much money nowadays. Right? So we're still asking for $100 for a ticket, Joanne, just like we did 40 years ago. But it's probably easier today than it was then, right? All right. So I think of selling raffle tickets like any other sales. You've got to have a pool of prospects to begin with, right? And so if you look at the under behavior there, you are what you do. A prospecting approach is a genuine attempt to start a conversation with another human being about them ultimately buying a raffle ticket. Right. So our prospects are, what's the conversations we're going to have, Skip, with people who to ultimately buy a raffle ticket? You know? And
Have you ever heard about the Kiwanis Club and what we do for children?
it's a good start. Keep going.
We've given away almost over $1 million over the time we've been in the club, supporting children and children's beneficial organizations. And to do that, we need to raise money for our club to do that. And with no overhead, 100% of what we raise goes to support those organizations and children that we need to support in our community.
And it is virtually the only, I mean, we do the rose sale, but this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. This is where everything rides on this in terms of what we can do for kids in the area.
Quick response is to say, just drive over to the Boys and Girls Club on the south side, and drive behind the building and look at the playground for $270,000 that we built.
Yeah. Or use the Palmer Club. Look at the building we're all Kiwanians. Look at the work we do. Go out to Shrin Center out there and look at that big building that the Kiwanis Club put up. Now, just because it's not ours. That's a small detail, but it's still the Kiwanis Club, right? So, Dick Murray talks about what he calls the golden almost. And what he says is that you have to, you know, if you keep asking people to buy something and asking, almost everybody says no. Now, it's not so much with raffle tickets, but trust me, if you're selling life insurance, almost everybody says no. But not everybody. Not everybody. So he calls it the golden almost, the fact that almost everybody, Kathy, will say no. But not everybody. There's somebody out there that's going to say yes. Yeah. So just keep asking. Just keep calling. Just keep sending out emails. And I got a sample email here you might want to use. But selling raffle tickets isn't that bad. No doesn't hurt. You know, if you're a salesperson, you got to get used to people saying no. I was always told no doesn't mean no. It means not now. So when somebody says, no, I'm not interested in a raffle ticket, you got to think, well, not now. Maybe 2-3 weeks from now, something else might happen, and they would be interested at that point. All right, so selling methods for raffle tickets. The first one, I love the way he sets this up. Introductory telephonic prospecting. That's cold call. That's just calling people. Now, we're probably not going to cold call to sell raffle tickets, but we could. I mean, why? If you really, really wanted to sell, you could call people and just ask them to tell your story and ask them to buy, but that's on the phone. The other is snail mail or email. And I got a good email that you can use to send out. Drop-ins, touch a truck. I mean, that's basically, you run into people that hey, I ran into Dave Culver. I know Dave Culver did a lot of work for us in our house. And I hadn't seen him in a while. He was there, touch a truck. I said, hey, Dave, we're having a raffle at the Kiwanis Club of Easton. He goes, yeah, stop by the store. Glad to help you out. So it wasn't that hard, but that's kind of like a drop-in or a spontaneous attempt to strike up a conversation.
The old saying is, if you don't ask, the answer's always no.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's always true. That's always true. Yeah. It's like playing golf, Skip. Short putt, a short putt never goes in. Right? You can't sink a putt if you're 2 feet short. Got to go past the cup. All right. Endurance, law of large numbers. So I was having trouble, as salespeople always do, in a rut, didn't know what to do. And my boss says, well, I don't think it's your technique. You've stopped doing something that you did when you were successful. What have you stopped doing that you used to do all the time that made you successful? I said, well, I guess my prospecting pool is low. I don't have that many people to talk to. He says, I'll tell you what, go down to the mall. This is when the Palmer Mall actually had business. He says, just stand down there and everybody goes by and say, hey, you want to buy some life insurance? Hey, you want to buy some life insurance? You want to buy some life insurance? He says, sooner or later, somebody's going to say, yeah, I would like to talk. He says, it has to happen. Law of large numbers. If you ask enough people, somebody's going to say yes. We don't want to work that hard, but it does prove a point that,
Did you do it?
I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Although I thought about it, but I didn't do it.
Same,
Yeah.
for years. You can't throw darts. Well, yes, you can. You throw them. If you throw enough of them, you're gonna hit the dartboard. You throw enough more, you're gonna hit the center of the dartboard.
Yeah. Full time.
Yeah.
And so, just to kind of wrap this up here, skill follows endurance. Nick Monroe always says, endurance, belief, and behavior are much more important than skill. Skill will take care of itself if you're doing the other ones first. I think that's very true. Principled persuasion, that's really what sales is all about, right? Principled persuasion. So anyway, go to the next page. Last year, I put together an email. This is a copy of it. And I think it's pretty good. Worked well for me. I was 5 for 5 in terms of sending this out to people and following up with a phone call. And they said, sure, be glad to help you out. So it starts out, I like to start it out with a personalization, something that kind of gets you and me close to each other. Hey, Skip, thinking about you. I saw you downtown a couple days ago. Just wanted to talk to you about something. So this particular person is a member of the board at the Ponfa Club. And I happened to run into him one night. And so I sent this out the next day. I said, good evening, hope all is well. Judy and I had a dinner last night at the club. Very much enjoyed it. AJ's music, he's a great young guy, very talented guy. Used to work down there and play the piano. Very good. We enjoyed talking with him. We also had a chance to check out the grill room. Renovations coming along very nicely. What a great update to the club. All right, so the board member, I want to tell them I like the club. Things are looking good down there. Then I went on to say, I was wondering if you could help us, Kiwanis Club of Easton, in our annual Super Raffle fundraiser. In years past, we had a few Ponfa Club members in Kiwanis who generated great support from the membership. But unfortunately, many of those older Kiwanians have passed and we don't have the strong Ponfa Club support like we did. I'm hoping to reestablish some of that. Each year we sell 200 tickets at $100 a piece. All 200 tickets being pulled, $500 cash prize is awarded to the first and 195th, as well as 150 to the 25th, 50th, and so on. And $10,000 to the 200. I've been a member of the club for the past 40 years, this club. I've helped support this raffle since its inception about 35 years ago. The proceeds from the fundraiser allow us to award multiple scholarships and support many Easton area youth organizations, causes, and clubs. I was always told that if you ask somebody to help you, most people will say yes. So I go on to say, hoping you can help us out. I've attached a sample ticket for your review and you do not need to be present to win. If you do win, I'll personally deliver the check. Thanks so much. I'll be in touch. Appreciate your leadership at the club. Things are really looking good. Regards, Scott. That's painless. If you send this out to 20 people whose email you know, it's painless. And you may follow up with a phone call. They're either going to say yes or no. And, I'm going to bet that chances are people will say yes. You just kind of tailor it to how did you get the association with them and some other personal background. And it's a very, very easy way to expand your network and possibly sell more outlets.
You send each of us that, and we can cut and paste. And
absolutely. I will send it an email and you can doctor it up, whatever you need to do. And, You know, I think it's a good way to painlessly expand your prospect pool. And you know what? They say no, just keep sending them out.
This will be the best year yet. Let's do it. I'm feeling amped up.
Speaking for Neil, who's not here, speaking for myself, Neil sells like 20 tickets, I sell more than 20 tickets. And I don't physically hand the tickets to people, I do it electronically. And it's the same pool of people every year, if I can stick somebody else in there. I just create my email, I create actually an email for Neil with the ticket and all this kind of stuff and his information. And he sent it to the person, I don't pick up the phone, I do it electronically with emails, and I've got 20-some tickets, Neil's got probably 20-some tickets. And we don't leave our computer doing it.
Yeah, no, it's just, I enjoy going to meet people. Whether it's at their office or wherever it happens to be, have lunch with them or whatever, to get their money, fill out the ticket and whatnot. And I always follow up with the tickets I sold with what number they were in terms of the raffle.
Question for Rosemary, do you mind if people use electronic payment to the club via Zelle,
Well,
as long as you know they're making the payment?
yeah, well,
We're changing bank accounts, I know.
yeah.
Well, you're not gonna close, even,
I don't have to close that
you,
right away.
you don't have to close it, you can leave $100 in there until you get past this, you know.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
In other words, for people that say, well, I got somebody in Florida who says, I don't wanna mail you a check in today's world of mailing checks. Can I do it electronic? We tried Venmo and it was a problem. I don't wanna do PayPal, it's expensive. Venmo's a problem because Venmo charges if the club collects it. If you personally collect it, they don't, and then you have to it was a hassle. I did it for 2 years. But Zelle,
Zelle works easy.
Zelle works easy.
Yeah.
So
Zelle's not a
if you're,
problem.
if you're talking to someone who says, can I pay electronically? Yeah, we'll get you the data for Zelle, whichever checking account we've got.
Well, yeah, it's.
Well,
Scott, I usually sell about at least 15, sometimes 20.
I know you do.
sometimes more.
I know you do.
But the interest, I want to know now how, with who's ever, actually doing this between Joanne and Rosemary. Joanne knows that I call her every year and I say, listen, there are certain people that want certain numbers. If you can give me those numbers, I know that I've got a sale, and that's usually anywhere from 5 to 10 people. As long as I can get them those numbers, I've got that.
Real
They'll give me
good
the
question
$100
now.
for the ticket.
Yeah.
Who do I go to? See?
Well, I'll be ordering the tickets in the next 24 hours, physically. And I should possibly, hopefully have them Monday or Tuesday. Who do you want me to get the tickets physically to?
Monday or Tuesday of
Next
week.
They both said 3 days.
Well, you want to take some tickets to the convention, right?
I'm not a set.
You want 35 or 40? 35 or 40, Rosemary? How many you want?
Well, no, my question is,
Yeah, of course.
so that somebody could get them, I mean, I could take them to Joanne's stuff, and then somebody gotta go to Joanne to get.
No,
them.
no.
I mean, we don't have enough.
You know what? Bring them on. I'll get them from you. You don't have to run by. I'll pick them up. And
My point is, as soon as I got them printed, I'll call you and let you know, bring them over. I'll try to remember to give you a blank sheet that you can start logging people's numbers like that Joanne used to do and like I did. But if anybody has specific numbers, I'm gonna suggest.
yeah. Well, Joanne, you said you would still that you would continue to do the tracking on them. And you know the people that want specific numbers, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's right. You don't do email, so
Yeah, but it's.
I'll call you. I'll let you know.
She texts.
Wait a minute. I'll take the tickets and work with Joanne.
Okay,
I'll take the tickets and then we can, I mean.
if you've got.
I'll pick them up
specific
and give them to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll pick them up. Okay.
numbers,
Yeah.
An email
I'll make sure that they don't.
or secretary, what numbers you specifically want.
All right, so I'll get the tickets from Bill.
Yeah.
Rosemary, give them to you, and then you will coordinate, you guys will work with. All right. Well, Laura, you're excited, right? You're gonna expecting big things from our unity partners here on this. And
Okay, sounds good.
yeah, and for the team captains, when we reach out to people that we don't see too often, I think it's a great opportunity to reestablish connection with them. Hey, we miss you at the meetings, come by and join in it. We're a great organization, and hopefully we'll get a double bang for the buck here.
So then the event itself, it's happening on Wednesday, September 3rd, and
Yeah.
so between 6 and 7, so then that's like, everyone's just kind of like hanging out,
Yeah.
waiting for, okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. And then they do the drawing, but you don't have to be present to win.
Don't have to be present to win.
Okay, good stuff.
But it's fun, you know, as they pick every ball. You know, so you get down with 5, and if there's 5 left,
Yeah,
then if all 5 agree, they'll split it. They each get $2,000 and they stop the raffle right there.
I tell you, it's another thing that I used to do while I was still on the job. To sell a couple more tickets. There were 10 of us in the investigation division. Everybody kicked in $10. And I would put my name on it, tickets. That was $100. I turned them in if we ever won, which we never did. The big prize anyway. We did win $150 one time, but we ended up splitting it evenly amongst the 10 investigators that were in the unit there. There were other times where I would split it with 4 other people, so there'd be 5 of us that kick in $20 a piece. There's your $100. Ticket is sold.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you get the objection that the cost is too much, say, well, how about $50? You want to, and then split it with somebody else. How about 25? Split it with 4 people, $10 a piece.
Well, I do that with one of the guys, one of the other guys.
I told people by saying, I'm like you and your 3 neighbors getting together and 4 of you'll spend $25 a piece. Oh, I can handle that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I had people say, I don't know who I could sell $100 ticket to. Bill Whitefield was one. And I said, you just got done telling me your guy who put your hip in Boston, who you're gonna see next week, got $50,000 to put your hip in. Take a ticket to him. He can afford one. Oh, I couldn't ask the doctor to buy one. I asked my doctor to buy it, and I get tickets sold that way.
Sure. Scott, I'm trying to think of logistics for myself.
Sure.
Because I won't be here when you're handing them out. I won't be here when you do it.
Okay.
And I'm wondering in terms of, I think they're supposed to sign these tickets too, aren't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
the person you're selling
So
them to.
what is the process by which I would
Okay,
know
to tell you how it's always been done.
how many and who's?
Since I do stuff electronically via email, they send me a message. I send a message out with, okay, so you want to buy a ticket? Do you want to go for the whole pie at the end, or are you willing to have a piece of the pie?
Yeah, that's.
If you're willing to have a piece of the pie, tell me that. And I just take the actual ticket and I keep his emails in a file, and it said Joe Smith, and I sign it per WW, my initials. I've never had an issue. Nobody's ever said, but I wanted to do it the other way. No, I got an email that said you wanted to split. And that's how I signed your ticket.
And where does the stub go?
We keep the stubs because the stubs.
You keep the stub, or do you
Well,
mail
no,
it
I turn that
into
stuff in.
Joanne, or
Yeah,
how's
Joanne
that?
Gets it, yeah.
I get it.
In other words, I send an email, I send a digital copy of the ticket out without a number on it. I explain everything to someone, and I explain to them, what would you like to do? Please let me know, are you willing to split the grand prize?
Yeah, I know how to do
ways
that. I
less?
can ask them that.
And they answer
I'm
it, and
just
then I
wondering
just,
about getting the
on the
stuff.
physical ticket, I write in their name and address and all the information, and where the signature is, I sign, Kurt Poling, he's my stockbroker. Kurt Poling /WW. Because I've got his email that said, I want to split.
And then what happens to the stub? Do you mail it to Joanne or?
No, I don't mail the stuff. No, I give it to Joanne.
Yeah, at the
Yeah,
meeting.
but I won't be.
Yeah,
here.
you can.
I know you won't.
So
And you won't physically have the tickets either.
Yes, so you just have to send her the email that says that the person's going to buy it, and then we'll figure out how to send you the information back. You
I've
say,
never-
if you wanna sell this much tickets, we'll figure it out. Joanne and I will work with you to do it.
Well, you'll be here next week, right? You're still here?
well, we don't have a meeting.
No, but I'm saying you're still in town till like the 1st of
You're not gonna give him the ticket, because unless he has to mail, then he has to mail them back.
No, we don't want to mail them. We don't want to mail them.
Well, so I can scan it in and send you a copy of tickets, and you just have to send an email with the person's name and that they said that they wanted to split or not split.
A blank ticket.
I've been selling email tickets for more than 5 years, and I've never had someone say, well, I want my ticket then. I keep them. And the ticket stub, I keep the top part of the ticket attached to their message. The ticket stub, which I filled in and scribbled their name down there /WW, that ticket gets turned in with their $100 to Joanne or Gary in the past, or last year it was me.
Now they're gonna send their money in directly to somebody, right? Are you
Well,
having them send you the $100?
no, I'd
and you
rather,
sending
rather
$100
than
to
send
somebody
you.
else? Let me finish, Bill, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure you heard me. So how did they get the money then to the right person? Are they gonna send the money to me or how's
Well,
that?
however you work with your client.
I don't want it really. I
Well-
want them to go directly to the banker or whatever.
Well, we could do it through Venmo, or the check could be written to the Kiwanis Club and mailed to the secretary,
Not Venmo, Zelle.
or Zelle, Zelle.
Zelle.
Yeah, probably easiest way would be send them to Rose.
Yeah.
We'll give you her address. You tell your
Okay,
people
so
just mail those.
I'll tell the person I sell the ticket to send the money to this other,
Yeah.
one of the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. If you get hung up, if they're local people here, we can help you out with it too, as far as.
Well, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand the logistics, and I know I sold some last year that way, but I don't remember anyone all worked out. And I know I felt a little awkward in terms of them not being able to sign the thing where you're telling them.
Yeah, I'm not
they
gonna-
have their signature.
as long as they send you an email and
With
says,
the volunteers.
or they wanna go for broke, I keep that email, attach the ticket that I signed them, in your case, you don't have a physical ticket. Yeah.
all right.
Very good.
What do you think? We're gonna have a successful raffle here?
Are you gonna be sending these to all of us also?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so, and I appreciate, folks who are gonna be, team leads and whatnot. Well, thanks for, in advance for the numerous tickets you're gonna be selling.
Absolutely. I have people I caught hell from one former police officer that I worked with because he's now with the school district. He said, "How come, did you do that super raffle?" I said, yes. He said, "Why didn't you call me?"
There you go.
I said, "Danny, I guarantee you, I'll get in touch with you every year."
Yeah. Yeah. I had a $2,000 winner last year. When I delivered a check, I said, "Hey, you're gonna be in this raffle next year?" He says, "Absolutely." So,
I delivered a $10,000 check a couple of years ago. And thought maybe the guy would give us a bonus back, but he has always bought 2 tickets for as long as we've sold them. And he still buys 2 tickets for as long as we've been selling them, and he marked both the tickets, no split. He got 10 grand.
very nice. All right, well, listen, good meeting today. Appreciate you all coming. And, Lori, is this your first meeting here?
Oh, no, I'm,
You can.
Okay. It's been before I got back, so, well, good to see you. All right, everybody, have a good week.
Yeah.